James, 8 captains. That's not out of the norm for you, but having a guy who's number 2 in the depth chart is. Can you talk us through how, is it a team vote, your vote? How did you get that group this year?
Who's number 2 in the depth chart? Oh, gotcha. So basically, first of all, addressing your point there, Sutherland got voted as a special teams captain. So typically we'd like to do 2 on offense, 2 on defense, and 2 on special teams. I think is the general model. So the entire program votes. So the players vote, the coaches vote, the academic staff votes, the training staff votes, the strength coaches vote. Anybody who's part of our program gets a vote. Sutherland got voted as a special teams captain. Blake got voted, obviously, as a special teams captain. The way we do the special teams captain, it can be a specialist or it can be any offense or defensive player that's going to be a starter on multiple units. So that's how that worked out. The 3 on offense and the 3 on defense, the reality is the way it played out, we had 3 guys that dominated votes, and then there was a significant drop after that. And I think actually, forget whether it was offense or defense, but it was within 2 votes with that second and third guy. So it just made sense. It just made sense. Obviously, it's a little bit different for us this year because we are so young that a lot of our captains are underclassmen, which to me is probably the one thing that's a little unusual. But that's how we got to 8, Mike.
Does having Sean be a captain, is that kind of a testament to his leadership, the way players look at him?
It is. I'm also going to tell you, though, that, yeah, he has earned everybody's respect. There's no doubt about it. But I would also say, back to your point, that was also part of the 3 captains deal is I want Sean focused on being the quarterback, but I didn't feel right because he dominated the votes of not making him a captain, but I didn't want so much on his plate. And with 3 captains, he doesn't maybe feel like he has to charge that unit, if that makes sense. Takes a little bit off his plate. So that was part of it as well. Yes, sir.
James, is this the best defense that you've had since you've been here?
Well, it's hard to say because we haven't played a rep yet. But at this point, I feel pretty good about it. I think in years past, we've had pieces that were really exciting. Obviously, you look at some of the guys and, Carl Nassib and some of the guys that really did some special things. We've had pieces, but in terms of really D-line, linebacker, and secondary, feeling pretty good about all of them. I think we all knew, safety, again, we feel really good about them right now, but game time is going to be another evaluation. D tackles, we feel really good about them right now, but game time is a different evaluation, obviously. But at this point of the season going into it, yeah, I would say so. I think our confidence is pretty high with how we're capable of playing on defense. But I also think you guys know, you watch some of these early games, in college football and the NFL, the way the game has changed in terms of how much you really tackle. There's very little tackling going on in preseason camp that, for people that have been watching football for a long time, sometimes it's hard to watch early on because there's so many missed tackles and things like that. So we got to go out and do it, and we got to go out and execute. But I think a lot of times, too, our effort is so good running to the ball and the athleticism that we have. If you miss a tackle, but you miss it on the right leverage and you're running to the ball the way you should, hopefully you can disguise some of those early season tackling issues.
What are some of the eye tests for the defense? With that being said, not tackling.
Is your hair longer than normal?
It's extremely long.
Looks very nice.
It's getting to be a pain.
It's very nice.
Yeah, thank you.
I have hair envy.
Thanks. Moyer does too.
God.
Yeah, but what are some of the eye tests that these guys have maybe passed for you to be able to say that?
On defense?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think first of all, it's your point is the eyeball test. We are longer and more athletic, and our body types. Our guys have done a really good job of changing their body types. They're leaner, more athletic than they've been in the past. And then it also is our testing results. Our depth. Our depth at defensive end. Not relying on, although we're young, we're not relying on as many true freshmen in significant roles like Micah was. So I think it's kind of a combination of all those types of things. And then when you got a guy like, Jan Johnson, a veteran guy in the middle, that not only has really increased his overall athletic numbers and resume, but he's just so, his instincts are so good, and he's so smart, and he's so intuitive with everything that he plays even faster. So I just think it's a combination of all the things that that you mentioned.
James, Penn State fans are a little sensitive to uniform changes. Have you gotten any feedback on the 150 patches, and is that something you guys are committed to wearing the entire season?
Yeah, I have not. I know we don't like anything other than what we have. I get it. I don't really know if that's an option. I think it is an option.
Yeah, I don't want to. It's something.
Oh, thank you. You just killed me right there. I think everybody's wearing them. I guess they can't mandate it, but I think everybody in college football is wearing them. I haven't seen or heard a lot, but now after this question, I'll probably get 100 emails. But no, I think I get it. Our uniform, we take great pride in that, our history and our tradition, and we should. But there's also paying respect to the birth of college football and the history of college football. So, I get it, but again, we're not going off the rails here. We will do. I don't know if I'm supposed to say this or not. We will do our throwback uniforms again. We're going to do that once a year moving forward. It was just a year deal, but it went over so well. Our players like it. The fans seem to like it.
This year?
Yeah. So we're going to do that every year. I probably wasn't supposed to say that. But
Did you pick the game
oh,
yet?
good. Yeah.
Did
Huh?
you pick the game yet?
I don't.
Thanks for reading my release tonight.
Yeah.
I was
but
too busy checking out the rules on the 150.
yeah, I get it. But yeah, we'll do that once a year. I think it went really well. It's a nice little change up for our guys, but not anything that's over the top. So we're going to do that once a year moving forward.
Adding a third assistant in the booth, what was the thought process behind that this year? Why did you pick Tyler? And the headset rule going back to Early's going up to 23. What's the difference between 23 and 20 in your eyes?
I'm sorry, the last point I didn't say again.
The headsets went from 20 of them, I think, last year to now back to 23 or up to 23. Why did those 3 extra ones matter?
For us
Yeah.
specifically,
Yeah.
it really is all based on our personnel, and some guys are out of the window. You have some rules based on how long you've been out of football. There's rules. I think it's a 10-year window that you're allowed to be on or off if you're not a full-time coach and things like that. So some guys have fallen out of that window now, but really it's just taking advantage of our personnel. It's how our staff works together. Brent calling the defense, who he wants up there with him. We've had less turnover on the defensive side of the ball. On the offensive side of the ball, who Ricky's going to get the most feedback from. And then also I think it's the presence and the strength of your personalities on the sideline. If your coordinator is going to be in the booth, you got to make sure you got strong personalities to manage the sideline and also kind of be able to determine the temperature and what the team needs and those types of things. There is value of the coordinators being on the sideline in terms of getting a feel for what the team may need at that moment. But obviously in just calling a game from the pure form of calling it, the best place to do it, I think, is in the booth. So it really just is based on personnel and fit and how we're maximizing our staff the best we possibly can. But some of it goes back to that rule. We got one guy that I think this is year 11 for him, and he falls out of that window now.
James, there's a lot of layers when it comes to playing quarterback on the mental side. Where is Sean in his development as a quarterback? Not just in your offense, but at the position of playing quarterback. Where is he on his mental journey as a quarterback?
Yeah, I think good. I think his time with Trace, I think, was really valuable. I really do. I think whenever you can have a guy, I know everybody wants to start as freshman, but there is value of sitting behind a guy and learning what the guy does well, learning from some of the mistakes that they make. When I was in the NFL with the Green Bay Packers, we drafted Aaron, and I'd make the argument, Aaron's sitting behind Brett for a couple of years. There's value in that. There really is. There's been a bunch of quarterbacks that I think have played too early in the NFL and college, and maybe it's ruined them. Sometimes. So I think that was a big part of his development. I think how we practice in terms of situational football. running legitimate 2-minute situations, doing competitive third down periods against our defense, 4-minute live scrimmages during training camp, because there's no other really way to do 4-minute but for it to be live. I think that helps. So then you can talk through situations. You can go through it on film as well. It's all those things. But I'm pleased with where he's at. Again, you got to go out in the field and you got to do it when the bullets are flying and there's 100,000 fans and they can hit you. Because I think that's the other hard part with young quarterbacks. Sometimes it's not realistic. They're in the pocket and they're hitching and hitching and hitching. And if you were live at practice every single day, I don't know if you would do that. So it's getting guys to understand, and that's always kind of the evolution for them. Are you taking game speed reps? Are you taking game-like reps? Or are you doing things in practice that if you did that in the game, it's going to be a sack, it's going to be a sack fumble, it's going to be a sack and the ball goes up and it's interception because it's not realistic, but it's the fine line. And then you got some guys that are really mobile guys that they almost get penalized for it because you never get to see that aspect of their game, if that makes sense. But I'm pleased with where he's at overall.
James, time for two more.
We got Robert Winter on the phone this morning. He's talked about how focused he was, and he's a rare fifth-year guy in your lineup. Discuss where he's at right now in terms of his progress on the field and taking some of the younger players under his wing.
I'd probably want to talk first, though, about his overall development from the time he got here to now is dramatic. I mean, I told him the other day, I pulled him aside, I couldn't be more proud of him in terms of how far he's come and how much he's matured as a football player, as a student, as a teammate, all of it, all of it. He has really maximized his experience here. I think he's going to have a huge year for us as a football player. His family has been awesome, just all those things. And then, I think your point is a good one. I think he is taking a lot of pride in his role of being an older guy on the team and taking the young guys under their wing. We got some, I think, talented freshman defensive linemen in this class and at defensive tackle. I will tell you kind of another example, kind of branching off from what you just asked me, but Darkwa, I want you guys to get to know Darkwa. I think you guys are going to love him. He came up to me, he said, "Coach, I need to meet with you." And usually when I get that, it's not good. It's the same like when I call them and it's like I'm the principal call. It's always something negative, but it's not. But so I grabbed him. I said, "What's up?" And he's like, "I just wanted to tell you, I woke up yesterday morning, and I woke up so appreciative and so thankful for being here at Penn State." And it really made my day and made my week, because we probably don't get enough of that. And I'm not talking for me, I'm talking for Penn State. A kid waking up and so appreciative and so thankful for this opportunity. It's like, I almost can't even believe I'm here. So that was awesome. I've told the staff, I've kind of told everybody about it because it was special. But he's one of those kids that's going to have the opportunity to come up under a fifth-year senior, which I think is becoming more and more uncommon, in our sport. So I think Rob's going to have a big impact on him, maybe in some ways that Trace had on Sean.